everyone, and welcome to the Dan Oneil Show. My name is Dan Oneil, and I'm 26 years old. I am the founder of the #1 real estate team on Long Island. That's the last day I can say that, being 26, not being the #1 team on Long Island. And today with me, I have a very special guest, my inspiration, who really needs no introduction, but obviously we're going to do it anyway. Real estate mogul, founder of his own brokerage, Serhant, best-selling author, star on Bravo's $1 Million Listing, and has a new book out, Big Money Energy, and soon to be my adopted big brother, Mr. Ryan Serhant. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking the time out. I really genuinely appreciate it very much.
Where are you? You're like at a brick studio in Long Island somewhere?
I'm in a Long Island basement here over at Colca Interactive. It's a pretty sweet setup. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Thank you. So jumping right into it, congrats on all the success. My first question has to be, what is your skincare routine? You have like the best complexion I've ever seen. Have you ever had a pimple in your life?
Yeah, I had cystic acne for a really, really, really long time.
Really?
It was devastating, to be honest, because the only thing that I actually wanted to do was theater and acting when I was growing up. And so from like, I guess it was 9th grade through college, I did 4 courses of Accutane, had to end up finding a dermatologist. I can't remember where he was from, but Dr. Nays, that guy saved my life.
Wow.
And went through 2 different rounds of V-beam laser treatment. But now I'm like the whitest guy ever. I have 0 pores, but it's great. It's much better than what I had to go through when people used to make fun of me when I was growing up.
Me too. Accutane actually almost killed me. That stuff was
really
awful. Yeah, it was awful for my liver, my kidneys, something.
Oh yeah.
But that's amazing. You have a great complexion. So I just wanted to give you that compliment. So I saw the other night you sold something for $140 million. Like that to me is just absolutely banana lands. Obviously, that wasn't right from the start. So what were your first few years of real estate like?
My first few years were, listen, I came to New York City not to do real estate, right? I came to New York because I went to college in upstate New York. I had construction job, summer money saved up. My grandfather had died, left a little bit of money. It was like 18 grand or something like that to me. And I said, you know what? I've got some savings. If I live super cheap, I can live in New York City, try the acting thing, see if I can make it. Otherwise, I'll regret it for the rest of my life, right? I took the LSAT to try to go to law school twice, bombed it twice. And so that really showed me and showed my parents like, okay, listen, I got to do this thing. And so I went to New York. I tried it. Didn't work. Ran out of money. And I needed to either leave New York because it was too expensive, obviously, with no money, or get a job, right? And my parents were willing to take me home. My parents, I grew up nicely, but they were never willing to help me. And, if I wanted to do something, I had to do it on my own. Same way if I ever wanted to buy anything when I was a kid, there was no like allowance. It was, go, you want to buy your first video camera? No problem. There's a yard outside, make it look perfect and we'll pay you per hour. And I was 7. And so, so I got a job kind of, it wasn't really a job, but I got my real estate license and I started renting apartments because I figured if I could rent an apartment for $2,000 a month, you take a 1-month fee, it's $2,000. I was a brand new agent, 50-50 with the house. I'd make $1,000. So if I did a couple of those a month, then I could, pay all my bills and then do whatever else I wanted. Right. And that was kind of like, that was my first 2 years, was posting ads on apartments on Craigslist for open listings, meeting college students, random people. One of my best friends, Scott Sporn, actually now, that's exactly how I met him. His dad emailed me off Rich Sporn emailed me off an open ad on Craigslist at the end of 2008. So like my son would like to rent an apartment. I rented him 21L at 75 Wall Street. And so that's what I did my first couple of years until I slowly realized, wait a minute, I think I could do more of this. And I became very addicted to the game. And then it just started going from there.
Yeah. So to back you up, I mean, I read your first book and what I thought was really interesting was you used to go to like Saks Fifth Ave and you used to go to these places and really just introduce yourself and meet people. And when I first got started, kind of the same thing. I had no money. So I used to go to these fancy bougie restaurants and I would order a club soda with like a lime in it. So it looked like I was drinking, a Grey Goose drink. And I would order like a rack of lambs that were on like the secret menu. So I spent maybe like $20 and I would go to McDonald's afterwards to actually eat. But I would just be there with all of these millionaires and I would hand out my business card with, my $20, whatever it was, suit on. And,
awesome.
and it really worked for me. And I kind of learned that from yours with you going down to Saks and kind of almost just, not faking it till you make it, but just getting in front of people. And the more people that you meet and introduce yourself to, the more conversions that you're going to get. So
yeah, there's a big difference. And I just want to clarify. So I really like that story. But there's a big difference between fake it till you make it and becoming future you, right? Which I talk about a lot. Like and big money energy is about that, right? There are people who have bullshit money energy, and those are the people who are faking it, right? Mm-hmm. They're rolling up in a car that they can't afford, that they've leased. They still live in a basement. They're wearing some bullshit outfit and they're talking about everything they've ever done to try to impress people, but they've never actually done it. So they're just lying, right? It's inauthentic. For me, and what it sounded like for you was, hey, I can be the absolute best in this industry one day. I believe I'm the best now. Do I have the experience? No. Do I have the contacts? No. But I'm going to position myself to be future me right now. So can I afford a Grey Goose? It's 3 of them? No. Right? But can I be in that situation and can I be the role before I am the role?
Right.
And if people ask me like, hey, how much have you sold? I'll be honest with them. Young, hungry, sold a handful of things, but I'm the best in the business. But they never will because I'm just going to associate with them and I'm going to know more than everybody else. And slowly but surely, time will go on and you will just become that person. And that's what having like magnetic energy, magnetic confidence is all about.
Right. And I think too, what you said that I love is, you became obsessed with the game, right? So there's being hungry for success, there's starving for success, and then there's being famished for success. And one of my questions that I really wanted to ask you, as if like we were just in a room alone, is I'm having a tough time with work-life balance. So this business, it's not about the money, it's about the relationships, and it's about the daily wins and the daily dopamine hits that I receive from these wins. But my problem is I'm so obsessed with this game, this infinite game, that I'm having a really tough time being, a good son, being present in front of my girlfriend, not being on my phone at dinner, not working 90 hours a week. So, I have no clue how you have any sort of work-life balance. So can you give me a little bit of advice on work-life balance?
Yeah, I don't have work-life balance. I have, I had girlfriends before Amelia who didn't like that I'd be on my phone and didn't like that at work. And I realized that those were just not good partners for me. Right. My parents and family also understand my drive and they get it. Right. And so they don't guilt me. Like they'll call me on Sunday and just they're checking in to see if I'm in the office. Right. So like I've kind of aligned myself with people who understand what my main priority is, which is while I can, because it won't be forever, right? While I can, I want to take as much advantage of every single minute, every day to build the biggest business that I can. And because it won't be forever, let me do this now while I have the energy, while I have the presence, while I have the exposure. Because one day you're going to be like, hey, bud, don't you want to go to work? And be like, meh. Like that eventually will happen, I'm sure, in some way. But I listen, I calendar and schedule absolutely everything. I know that 2 nights a week, I get home by 6 p.m. to put the baby down. And then by 7:30, I can go into my room and do emails and phone calls if I have to, but I don't do appointments after those times. And that's fine. And I tell my clients that, and obviously post-COVID, it's not like I have dinner events. And then Saturdays for us, open houses in the city are on Sundays and appointments that way. And so Saturdays, really, unless I have an important client, are for the baby. But that, also having a little bit of a life was the reason the team got so big. I just levered up as much as I possibly could. I have 1, 2. So I have 4 assistants.
I know I've been dealing with
one of them only does email.
I know.
Yeah, one of them only deals. right?
Mhm.
I have a handful of people who just really, really help so that I can focus every day only on what I do. Otherwise, like I remember when I was 26, 27, 28, like if I left the office before 10 p.m., it didn't feel like a full work day. And I would do my appointments, run around the city all day long, but I'd get into the office around 7:38, and then I would end my day there too. I just didn't like working from home, right? Because I had like my system, like my command center at the office, where I could actually get things done. And to be honest, like, was it awesome? Uh, no, but would I be where I am today without having done that? Fuck no, because
Amen.
I was able to prospect and get ahead of everybody else who had a leg up compared to me.
Mhm.
And so while they were all sleeping or at the movies or on vacation, I
Right.
was I was there working, right, to build volume, and it just kind of is what it is. You just sort of have to come to terms with it. And I will say the best piece of advice I have is uh, to set expectations with communication with people. Like the only like it's going to get to you if your girlfriend gets pissed off because you don't set the expectation that, hey, I'll put my phone down for half an hour and that's dinner time, and you make that commitment, right? You put it down, you put it to the side, you don't look at it, give a little bit of a break, and she understands that. And you make time for them, but the way you work, you gotta calendar it and you gotta schedule it, and you make it kind of a game too.
So that is amazing advice. Thank you. What went into the decision? So, I mean, mid pandemic here, you start your own brokerage. I am somebody that wholeheartedly believes, partly because of you, that it really is the agent and not the company, right? It's your own brand. So recently I was going through the recruiting process. I left a bigger name company and went to a bit of a smaller boutique here on the island. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is the bigger brands were telling me that, I wanted to get into media. I wanted to get into a lot bigger projects out into the Hamptons. And all of them told me that I would never be able to do that, never be able to get in front of someone like you if I didn't join their bigger company. And it's just a testament to really being, the agent and their own brand as opposed to the company. So what made you, you're an absolute lunatic. What made you start your own brokerage? You're a genius too, in the middle of a pandemic. And, how is that going for you so far? How much do you love it?
Um, I love it more than you can possibly know, because I really enjoy the risk. Like it's so terrifying, especially last year when we started.
Mm,
Um, but like it always happens to me, right? I don't know. I think I'm just the kind of person where I have to have my back against a wall, and I will come out, right? Like if you chain me to the bottom of a lake, like it is fight or flight, and I will fucking figure out how to get to the top and breathe. Like
mm,
when we were doing this, it was the middle of the pandemic and everyone was like, you're totally insane. In my head, I was like, you know what? If I could come out swinging and do one deal over 20 million on my own, which I could do anyway, but like I was always on my own. I just had an umbrella above me. Like that'll really prove something. Right. And within 4 months, I came out and we did one for 22 and a half, one for 20, one for 33, and then one for 132,880,000 last Thursday. Right. Really, really helping me plant the flag. And I didn't know I was going to do any of those deals going into it, but it's
mm.
amazing what happens when you push your back up against a wall. But the brokerage for me is really agent brand first. But I also understand agents who have zero brand to start need a brand behind them to help them
Right.
do business. I also need agents to help me build and do business. Right? I don't have time to run around and show apartments all day long. And so the agents that we bring on are experienced, and they've got an amazing foundation, but they want to take it to that next level. And we just have the resources for them to be able to do that. And
Right.
as we grow and as we expand, we will really be, I think, one of the best platforms out there with everything that we're working on and everything we're building now for the agent of the future. And that won't just be in New York, right?
So it's starting to happen a little bit locally here where people, excuse me, agents are reaching out to me saying that, I inspire them and that they look up to me. And, I'm sitting here 26 years old and like, I don't think anybody should really be looking up to me. Right. It's like such a weird feeling. So knowing every day that like we all look up to you, the entire industry, all these young agents doing video, doing funny, creative, content, knowing all of that
Yeah.
and having all of us look to you, who do you look to for inspiration and maybe for advice?
Who do I look for inspiration? I look at like massive people in the industry, right? I look at, I don't know, like I read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, right? I'm not Nike. I won't be Nike. I don't make shoes, but like his story is really, really, really inspiring, that he like wrote a thesis about Japanese cameras and then really struggled and built this crazy shoe company, and it worked, right? Because he just was super persistent and, a love for the game. I look at any titan of industry, and I always think, listen, a big part too of big money energy is like, you've got to be a person who is 1,000% comfortable with saying, why not me? Right? Like, why not me? Right? I want to do a deal over $100 million. Why not me? How am I going to do that? Where am I going to find this person? How do I have to get there? It's not going to happen tomorrow. It'll happen one day. So how do I get there? So yeah, those are the types of people that I look to, just huge people.
Okay.
And I don't know, we'll see what the future does.
Yeah. So obviously Big Money Energy is out. I am still waiting on my copy. I will be expecting that hopefully ASAP. So for those that have not ordered it yet, can you give us the pitch right now, whether it's real estate, business, or just life in general? Like, what is Big Money Energy to you?
Big money energy to me is finding that ability inside yourself, because we all have it, to take what is completely raw and turn it into the absolute best version of yourself without waiting. Right? I'm impatient by nature, and I think it's helped me in business because I move incredibly quickly. But I think we all had complete control over ourselves at some point in life, and then we all lost it. Either some dick boss or boyfriend or girlfriend or your parents or some teacher told you weren't good enough.
Right.
And so we took a step back, right? And we kind of crawled back inside of ourselves. Big money energy is finding that process to be able to find unlimited, humble confidence so that you can walk into a room and control it, so that you can go out and start leading the life that you want to lead tomorrow. And part of that, you already have. That's making the decision when you're in your 20s. Hey, I want to associate myself with people that are wealthier and more successful than me, because that's going to help me build my business. So I'm going to be around them. Can I afford Grey Goose? No. Can I afford club soda? Yes. Is anyone going to ask me what's in my drink kit? No. So I'm going to be there, and I'm going to step outside my comfort zone because that's where the magic is. And so the book is really kind of like my blueprint for confidence, told through, the pain of the deals and stories that I went through when I first came to New York City. So Sell Like Serhant, which you read, is a toolkit more than anything, right? It is like exactly how I operate my business, how I do what I do day in and day out. And it is a toolkit for sales and for the gig economy. This is that secret sauce. That's what big money energy is. It's how do you take those tools and actually use them? Because anyone can have a toolkit and then it just sits in the closet. But if you don't know how to use it, then you can't go build that amazing fucking house that you've always wanted. No pun intended.
I'm super excited to read it. So I'm just gonna, as we wrap it up here.
I appreciate you. Thank you for pushing it. I appreciate that very much. So.
Did that post get your attention, or was that like Puma on your Instagram? Because like your Instagram.
The team, yeah, no, it got the team's attention.
Okay, fair enough. So as we wrap this up, I just want to wrap into a few rapid questions here. Is that all right?
Yeah, we got till 8:30.
8:30. All right, we got 2 minutes. All right, so what is the future and next location of Serhant?
Well, we just signed a lease a couple weeks ago and announced it last week. We outgrew our Tribeca townhouse, and so now we're going into the old Tommy Hilfiger flagship store. It's 15,000 square feet. We took down an entire building in the middle of Soho, and my presence in Soho is now bigger than Louis Vuitton.
Let's
Prada.
go. Let's go. Let's go. All right.
That's Soho headquarters. That'll be New York headquarters, and then we'll branch from there. From there, we'll go, Hampton, South Florida, kind of the key luxury markets that we're already in.
Okay. All right. So as we have 1 more minute, my mom, I just found out, is your biggest fan. I didn't even know that she had Instagram. I didn't know she even watched TV. So I promised her that I would tell her that you said hi. So
hi, Mom.
All right, listen, thank you so much. Actually, wait, one last question. I know you have Amelia, Puma, Adrian, your daughter, Ali. I see Kelly behind you, but will you be my big brother?
I got to ask my little brother his permission
Okay.
because I'm a big brother to him. So if he's cool with it, then yes.
All right, perfect. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it. Look forward to reading the book. If you haven't yet, go order Big Money Energy. Let's go. You're the man. Thank you so much. Tell your team I said thank you too. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. See ya.
All right. Thank you.